With me in studio tonight, Senator Gary Peters, Democrat of Michigan. He is one of the members of the Senate Democratic Caucus who voted with Senator Schumer to allow that bill to advance to final package. Senator, appreciate your time tonight.
Good to be with you.
Is Chuck Schumer's job as leader in peril?
No, he still has certainly confidence, I think, of everyone in the caucus. We had a very difficult decision, as you know. This was a choice between a very bad bill, but what would have been catastrophic shutdown.
You say as the confidence of everybody in the caucus. There were only 9, including him, and Angus King, an independent who votes with you guys most of the time. That's not everybody, so he may have their confidence. He didn't have their votes today. Yeah. That's a big deal when people don't follow the leader.
Well, we're never going to be unanimous, especially on something as contentious as this vote. We had a series of meetings this week. It was very intense. Everybody has a chance to talk about their view on how we handle the situation. But we came out of there and we understood that we had different views, but we were still united. We can't be fighting each other. We have to understand we have to be fighting the Republicans and Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And if we're fighting each other, we're going to be weak.
Well, at the moment, some of you are fighting each other. That's the way it goes. My colleague Dana Bash reporting today that one of your colleagues, Democrat Michael Bennet of Colorado, Senator of Colorado, accused the leadership, quote, no strategy, no plan, and no message. Is Senator Bennet right?
Well, certainly we had a message that the shutdown would have been absolutely catastrophic. There's no question we were dealing with a bad bill that the Republicans sent over. But we have to remember, had we gone to a shutdown, we would have actually given more power to Donald Trump, more power to Elon Musk, and more power to the OMB director, Mr. Vogt. They basically would have free reign. When you don't pass a budget, there's a vacuum, and that vacuum is filled by the president that has powers well beyond what was in that CR.
So help me with the specifics of that, because as you know, many in your party, especially progressives, and a lot of voters out in the country who just want to see somebody stand up to Donald Trump, say, okay, get your point. You don't want to shut down the government. However, if they keep doing all these things, why not shut down the government? You say they would exercise their powers. There's some people out there who say, let them be like Thelma and Louise and get in the car and drive off the edge. And then number one, his approvals drop, his support drops. Maybe some Republicans decide it's time to stand up to him. And at a minimum, it helps you in the midterms in 2 years. Why not take that approach?
Well, because American people get hurt. So clearly that's a big price to pay. When folks say, let's fight, you have to remember that's going to be federal workers who are furloughed and are not getting their pay. Then that shutdown could last a very long time. The last one was over a month. This would last longer. You have people who are working and yet they're not getting paid. So there is a real price to be paid. People are not getting services. So the idea for me, and I think for my caucus, is that we have to be focused on what I think is the main issue, and that's what's coming up in just a few weeks with this reconciliation. We've got a president who wants to basically make massive cuts, including against Medicaid, which will hurt millions of people in this country in terms of their ability to have health care. And he wants to give big tax breaks to billionaires. We can't be fighting ourselves. We can't be in a shutdown where every day we're trying to get open again, and we don't know if they would ever want to open it. That would distract us from the major fight that we all have to be organized against protecting Medicaid, other critical services, and blocking basically tax breaks to billionaires.
Among the 9 were yourself, Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire, 2 Democrats who said they're not going to run for re-election. Would you have voted differently if you were going to be on the ballot in 2 years? And did the leader come to you, and do you know Senator Shaheen, and say, I need a couple more votes. You're not going to be on the ballot anymore. Gary, I need you on this one.
No, he did not do that at all. I have a long history of the time that I've been in Congress. I've been against shutdowns. I've always been passionate. I think it's a failure of Congress if we can't come together and pass a budget. We've basically abdicated our Article 1 responsibilities, and then that's a void, and the president fills it, and then the president has unbelievable power to determine who's an essential employee, who's not. That's going to lead to more layoffs. It could mean departments disappear. Shutdowns are simply unacceptable. I've worked on legislation to try to end them. So this is something that I've had, that I feel very strongly about, and I've done that since the day I came
So you
Congress.
mentioned the fight that's coming, which you view as the bigger, more consequential
Yes.
fight. There's a lot of raw anger in your party right now. Not your first rodeo.
Right.
You've run the senatorial campaign committee, going through primaries and all that. That's like herding sheep sometimes.
Yes,
You've got to deal with a lot of
yes,
different
indeed.
opinions and things
Yes,
like that.
indeed.
So when you have people in the House who are clearly furious, whether it's former Speaker Pelosi all the way down to a relatively new member, AOC, and you have a couple of your own Senate colleagues saying no strategy, no plan, how do you fix this? If you have that big fight coming, how do you heal those wounds? It's hard to beat the party out of power, but how do you get better at it, more clearly at it?
Yeah, and that's where we have to come together. And I would just, step back to everybody, realize who we have to be fighting against, and that's Donald Trump and the Republicans, and understanding that they're out to hurt the American people. And we won't be successful if we're fighting each other. Every day we're talking about another member of the Democratic caucus, whether in the Senate or House, we're falling behind. All of us have to lock arms and understand the real fight is coming. It's big. It's cutting Medicaid to millions of people. It's about tax breaks to billionaires, changing the very foundations of this the democracy that we live in. That's the fight. Let's stop fighting each other and understanding that we have a real fight ahead, and we've got to be locking arms or we're not going to be successful.
Before we go, Donald Trump is without a doubt the leader of the Republican Party, a very unified party. Who's the leader of the Democratic Party? Is there one?
Well, it's different when you have a president. We don't have a president now, so I think there'll be a number of voices that will be coming out.
Is that part of the problem?
That's always a challenge for the minority party when you don't have the bully pulpit of the presidency.
Senator, I appreciate your coming in very much. Gary Peters, thank you very much.